Yo everybody, what is up? Today we're doing more Higurashi because why the fuck not? Dude, I cannot wait for today. It's gonna be really cool because oh my god, yesterday dude, holy crap, that was interesting. I mean, god, it was actually just yesterday was one of the parts where like we just get the entire plot that we know and love. We don't really see a plot twist, but we see something we've never known before. And it just completely turns around, like, nearly our entire knowledge of, like, the entire story. It's really nuts. I mean, dude, that thing yesterday we learnt about Rodena and, like, you know, there was it, I think it was delusional parasitosis or something like that, that she could potentially be having, and then all of the sort of mental things that she has as well, and Takano-san as well. It's just really interesting that, like, we met Takano-san, and then shit went down. Like, that happened with Shion as well. But yeah, anyway, dude, I am really interested to see what's going to happen today. I don't know what's going to happen, because at the same time, like, even though we've had this breakthrough of information, like, what is going to happen? Is this information going to really affect Dena? And is it going to make stuff worse? Or is she just going to live with it? Or is just, I don't know, what's going to happen? What's going to change today? I wonder if we're going to end on a cliffhanger as well. But there's no cliffhanger today, so I really have no clue. Oh, we're getting Takano-san's notebook. Very interesting. About homing ability and homesickness. If you interpret homing ability in a broad sense, you could say that most animals have a homing ability. It's the same with humans. We like to sleep, eat, and rest. We like to sleep, rest, and eat at a place where we feel comfortable, namely our homes. Yeah, I suppose. Your home is to you what nests are to animals. Therefore, we can say that humans have a homing ability as well. First of all, why do animals need nests? The answer is the same as for humans. Sleeping and resting and eating are the essential actions for survival. At the same time, there's actually sleep on one defenseless as well. Yeah. Yeah, so if you don't sleep, rest or eat, then you are defenseless, I agree. But I don't really know. I never really thought about it like that. But at the same time, like, with animals, let's just say a bird, for example, they can just move and then, I don't know, just relocate their nest into another place, I would have thought. We can't exactly do that with our houses, but I suppose it is sort of like the same sort of love that we get for our houses that animals, and dependence that animals also get. I don't really know though. That's why you need a safe area where you can be defenseless. Oh, interesting. Everybody knows that not having this safe area results in a high level of stress. Yeah, definitely. When you move an animal to a new environment, it naturally becomes stressed. Yeah. When you force a person to live in a foreign land where they aren't comfortable, they become really stressed as well. Yeah. Everybody also knows that this kind of stress is called homesickness. Oh, interesting. The Japanese don't know much about homesickness. We defined it as mental weakness, and we neglected to treat it for a long period of time. However, homesickness has a very long history. In Europe's Middle Ages, people believed that it wasn't a mental but rather a physical disease. So is it just so when you're out of your home you go completely mad or something like that? Or you just aren't yourself because of the whole stress that's actually been happening to you? We also believe that out of everyone, the Swiss called the disease the most. The Swiss? Damn. The Swiss, you see, were known to be an ethic loop that worked away from home in that era. They lived very far away from their homes. There were no telephones at the time, so they couldn't even hear their family's voices for ages and ages. Yeah, I know, that must be awful. It's easy to imagine that young Swiss workers got homesick while working in a strange land. Yeah, these Swiss who got homesick wanted to go home, but they couldn't because of their jobs. Oh, yeah, I suppose. The conflict made them weak physically and mentally. Some of them went crazy and tried to escape from their reality by committing suicide and running away. God. Yeah, so I suppose just that feeling of belonging and, you know, just the normal feelings you get from being in a home, really. And especially with families as well, separation from families, that can definitely, like, induce this. I see what she means. This was at the time where very superstitious and many folk remedies and occult-like treatments to prevent hope sickness went around. Oh God. Since going home was the only treatment, they must have called it a fatal disease. Yeah, supposedly. If they can't get to their home, I mean, I suppose it's going to be something that always happens. But I don't know. But it isn't really one, of course. Yeah, specifically homesickness is a sign that of that human homing instinct. Your brain desires to go back to your safe area, namely your home. The only thing about this, what if your home no longer becomes safe? I wonder what happens then. Does your brain desire for the I don't know, just the past in which your home was safe? Or do you just lose hope in the thing you thought was safe entirely? I wonder. At first, your brain makes you remember the happy memories of your home, and it urges you to go home in a natural way. But when reason stops you from choosing your desire, your brain starts sending unnatural signals to your body. What? Oh shit. As a result, your body gets weak, and then that makes it more difficult for you to live in a strange land. In the end, you'd have to bend reason in order to achieve your desire to go home. Shit. I mean, I'm gonna be real, I have a feeling this is really, really worst case, but like, holy fuck. I do wonder if this disease is like when you know you can't go back to your house, or if it's just like, I don't know, you're just moving in for a temporary period of time. But like, the thing is, it just seems kind of weird. Like, this doesn't really add up, because what about, for example, if you're going, I don't know, let's just say you're going to college or something, you're completely moving out, you're going into a university dorm or something like that, and you're not going in a place that's at all similar to your house. Do you feel this then? You can't. So homesickness is born from our homing instincts, yeah. And the stronger one's homing instinct is... right, that kind of makes sense. The stronger the one's homing instinct is, the stronger their homesickness. The strength of that homing instinct varies from individual to individual and depends on the environment in which those individuals live. When you're safe from the environment you live in is dangerous, your homing instinct is stronger. I suppose. No, I suppose because you feel more dependence on your house, so as a result. Yeah. On the other hand, when the environment you live in is safer than your homing instinct becomes very weak. Yeah, I suppose so. Safety isn't the only element that affects its strength. Cultural aspects affect it too. The many customs demanding families to return home for major events varies with each region, so your birthplace's culture also alters the strength of your homing instinct. Yeah, I suppose. So you could say, I suppose you could say here that like Christmas is an example of that. That's very interesting. I'm kind of surprised that actually does, but no, I suppose with the whole homing instinct being improved by that, I wonder, because I don't really know. I would have thought maybe some sort of traditional thing, because if you feel it's traditional and you think it's integrated into your life every year, then I suppose if you get that taken away from you, then it can definitely feel weird. But I don't really get how that's impacting home strength, really. regions, the transcendence of an Higurashi village were believed to have an excessively strong homing instinct. Oh, that's very interesting. That is actually very interesting because, like, sorry, I'm finding it really hard to talk at the moment. Where did my bottle go? Oh, there. Just gonna. I hope that's better now. Nothing's really changed, but like at the same time, I was going to say that very interesting that like the transcendence of Higurashi actually believe that they had a strong homing instinct. And then you look at people like Lena, look at her, and look at all the shit that could have happened, but that has happened to her because of the whole just moving from Hinamazawa, being away from her home, being in an environment that she really didn't like, really didn't get on with, and she probably didn't feel home. That was home. I do wonder if it could potentially be because you remember she did say she potentially had some demon blood mixed in with her. This is kind of interesting that she has this and the demons have it. I mean, this could be complete baloney, but like still, this is kind of interesting. Even if like the demons are actually proved to be things that don't exist, and Oyasura-sama actually is human, which I really don't know, but like yeah, even if that is the case, you still have these weird coincidences. The people on Higurashi forbade their fellows from ever leaving. Yeah. And that's Oyasura-sama as well, what they do now. Many believe that this is the effect of the elitism and sense of purity I already mentioned before. But she didn't mention anything, what? Oh, it's probably something we didn't read. People today still strongly believe that Oyasura-sama puts his curse on you if you break his rule and abandon the village. The superstition can be interpreted as homesickness. Yeah, I suppose. But at the same time, like, it's not you putting the curse on yourself, it's Oyasura-sama. Or could that be you putting the blame on Oyasura-sama because it's normal to do it like that? I don't know. If homesickness is directly proportional to one's homing instinct, then the exaggerated expression curse would signify the strength of that homesickness, and also the homesick instinct. Interesting. I can assume that they hated the outside world and created an insular society precisely because of their powerful homing ability. No, I can see that. But at the same time, like, I don't really get why they'd hate the outside world, because, like, I get that you don't really like anything that's not Hinamazawa, but at the same time, like, you go to Okinomiya for your shopping. Or maybe there are shops in Hinamazawa, but, like, the only Hinamazawa shop I know is that corner shop. So I'm really not sure. Unfortunately, there's no way to measure the strength of that homing ability that primitive people of Higurashi had. Yeah, definitely. It's just stories, really. It was so strongly forbidden to leave the village that nobody left long enough to get homesick. Oh God. Yeah, they'll probably kill before, after they left even. However, after the mid-era, things changed. The sacredness of Higurashi dwindled with the efforts of modernization. Yeah, that's kind of good. Many young people started longing for a city life, and some people were forced to leave the village to get a job. As a result, villagers started venturing outside the village borders. Oh boy, this is when the transcendence of Higurashi realised how strong their homing ability was for the first time. The business of Hinamazawa got extremely homesick. After a while, people started to call this homesickness the curse of Oyasura-sama. I mean, this is just a theory, but at the same time, they do actually kind of wonder that, because what if this potential homesickness But the only thing is, this theory would make sense, and I mean, I know Takano-san didn't know this because like this was before the 5th year, but all of this adds up until you get people like Tomitake and Takano into the mix, for example. All of it adds up until then, and yeah. If you can remember that a person who left the village to get a job in a strange land was cursed, that he went crazy and died. And people who had left the village started coming back to either it or the nearby town. Damn. That's actually really odd. Their homesickness and their homing ability were very strong because of their culture. It's reasonable to think that these were cultivated by the unique religion in Yamazawa, mainly the cult of Oyasuro-sama. Oh, so yeah, that's where they got Oyasuro-sama from. Because I was kind of thinking, like, where did they get Oyasuro-sama from? Where? Like, when they called the homesickness Oyasuro-sama. But yeah. God. It's weird, this. It's just really odd that, like, I mean, I get that it's because of their culture and everything, but it's just really odd that, like, I don't know, just propaganda that's sort of been spread around the entire nation of Hinamazawa can sort of influence people this much. I mean, like, these people, they wouldn't just go crazy for, I don't know, attention or something like that. They probably genuinely think it. It's just really surprising to me. From the moment they were born, they were taught the rules of Oyasuro-sama. They must have felt guilty about leaving the village unconsciously. Yeah, I suppose, but like, the only thing is, you would have thought that would just be a childhood story. You wouldn't have actually thought that would have any sort of significance about it, apart from it just being a tale. And keep in mind, these are more and more modern times. It is just kind of odd that, like, these people actually are thinking this. As a result, they considered their homesickness to be the curse of Oyasuro-sama. Yeah, I'm not sure if their homesickness got stronger because of the rules of Oyasuro-sama, or if they made the rules of Oyasuro-sama because their homesickness got stronger. I think it's more likely the second one, but at the same time, it could be the first one. We really don't know. I don't know which came first. I got tired of reading such small print and lay down on the floor on my back. Oh my god, of course it's really small print. Takano-san is like probably... No, she's probably really, really good at writing if she can write like several scrapbooks, my god. On the floor? Damn. The true identity of the curse of Oyasuro-sama is homesickness? No. I think there's a little more to this. No, but I kind of get what she means, because this is kind of bad for her, because it really, really applies to her, because this is sort of, this could potentially be like what she's been going through. But at the same time, like, it just isn't. I somehow don't think homesickness drives you. Tomitake, Takano-san, and how does homesickness drive you into Blimmin? I mean, this is really weird. Like, I'm sorry, but there is no way that you can have homesickness and then you can return to the place that your home was, where you got homesickness from, being away from, and then just die. Like, I don't agree with that at all. you also believe my story and she let me read those scrapbooks. That's why I expected to find something interesting. But what if it's saying that? What if it's saying that? What it's saying? Oh my god, I have bad eyes. What it's saying is that the answer to it is all homesickness, which many doctors told me so many times at counselling. I'm a little upset. Oh, that's actually very interesting. No, so I suppose Renan really thinks that like the whole Yasudazama thing really is sort of fantasy. It really is just like something out of this world, really. It's very interesting that like she's sort of disappointed to see that, you know, the doctors were actually right. This can't explain the extraordinary experience it had. Yeah, I suppose, but at the same time, I suppose it could be, I don't know, maybe the effects that Renan had could be, I mean, obviously there were a lot of other factors, but maybe it could just be not only finding something to blame something on, like blaming on Yasudazama for like all of the issues, but secondly, sort of just all the deteriorations of her mind, really. I saw Yasudazama come down to me from a bright light in the bathroom. That's just so weird. I saw the dusty red maggots come out of my blood vessels. This scrapbook doesn't explain any of that. Yeah, but the only thing is at the same time, I kind of don't like the thing is about Lena. She just is convinced that this is just some sort of abnormal thing. She doesn't actually. I have a feeling she's so convinced that it's abnormal that she's not really considering the whole potentially normal aspect of it, you know? Yeah, I don't understand how Miyazan was going to explain the cloud of maggots. Yeah, definitely. Maybe she didn't have an explanation, and maybe she didn't have any explanation of that to begin with. Was it just a delusion? I don't know. It is just really weird. I mean, no matter how much of a delusion it is, it's just so weird that you can feel it. It is so weird. And you can actually feel like all of the effects. And that you can see something that looks so realistic that you can genuinely sort of think it's actually happening. It's just weird. I've looked through one of the other strappers, Mio, Son, looking for an explanation of the maggots I saw. Yeah. Then I found it? It had the exact title I was looking for. About maggots and because of Yasudazama. What? I'm really surprised. So she knows about it? What? In the Meiji era, a group of villagers were on their way back to Inamazawa and they started discussing a rumour about a weird disease. They said that maggots started crawling out of the wounds of the person who left Inamazawa, and the maggots ate the person. Ate the person? What? Ate the person's body from the inside. That's so weird. I mean, did it just say there were rumours? Yeah, there were rumours, but at the same time, if people genuinely saw this, and they actually saw like the internal maggots actually eating the body, and then this person was actually killed as a result of it, then, oh, this is weird. Wait, hang on. When is the Meiji era? I gotta search. 1868 to 1912. So it's not really that. It's not that far away. The Shinto priest of the hooded shrine at the time explained that the weird disease was a sign of the curse of Yasudazama. Oh yeah. I suppose you probably would because of the whole religious aspect. Yeah, I mean, that is so weird though because I really wonder if this person has actually died. Was their death confirmed? Was it actually seen by people? Because if it was seen by people and people that actually knew this person saw them, I don't know, either like completely sort of mutilated by the maggots or just dead, then how do they really explain? How do they explain the whole maggot thing being a sort of mental delusion? It's so weird. I mean, I do really want to work for Denard. Like, it is kind of interesting. She never felt touching the maggots. You never really felt how they feel like, because you would have thought with maggots, you just, if you can see my fingers, you just squish them like that. I mean, maybe you wouldn't, but at the same time, these people were desperate, so you wouldn't rule it out. It is just kind of odd that she never really mentioned the touch of the maggots, so that could strengthen that it's a mental problem, but I don't know. According to tradition, oh, my mouth is so dry. According to tradition, the Shinobi showed the villagers an ancient scroll, and he told them that the story of maggots had been passed down through the ages. What? That's odd. An ancient scroll, fucking hell. This is what the scroll said. The world where the demons came from must be interpreted as the land of death. And the demons in that land of death have to live their lives were being eaten by maggots? What? Okay, this is weird. Hang on a second, so... That's so weird. I mean, I'm not even going to ask why they have to live there. So, just because the world they're living in is now suddenly, oh yeah, death world. They have to be eaten by maggots. That's such a random thing. It's actually kind of interesting though. If you genuinely got like a ton of maggots in somebody's body somehow, you do wonder if they could genuinely eat it, because, oh my god, could you imagine how painful that would be? I mean, let's just pray they go for the heart first. But these things, the thing is, these things are decomposers. I wonder, but at the same time though, I do wonder if like the decomposers would, how long they would take. But the only thing is, like, if maggots really were in your body, could you imagine how many sort of, like, no, potentially every body process could just be completely fucked. Because, like, do keep in mind that these are potentially viruses. They could, no, the thing is with the world of genuine maggots, they could be carrying viruses, they could be carrying disease. I mean, of course they would be, they're fucking maggots. But, like, yeah, at the same time, if they were in the human body, not only would their movement disrupt the blood flow, what about, like, all the active transport, diffusion that happens, and osmosis as well? Wait, no. No, active transport is only in plants. What am I thinking? No, I think it is. I don't know. The only example of active transport I can think of is like plant root hair cells they get. I think it's low concentration of minerals from soil, and then they absorb it into their root hair cells, which have high concentration of minerals. I can't remember if that's the case for humans or not. But yeah, osmosis only happens in water. Wait, what was I saying? Yeah, but anyway, like, all of those processes, they'd probably be disrupted. And what would actually happen if maggots actually got into cells? And what if, I don't know, theory. I mean, this is just sort of theorising, just, no, fantasising, really. I don't really have any scientific knowledge, but, like, could you imagine if, I don't know, let's just say, oh my god, could you imagine if there were maggots, like, right where your brain was? Because in theory they could, if they were in your bloodstream, then they could possibly travel to the brain. I mean, I don't know. The villagers who were of the demon's blood have nothing to worry about as long as they lived in Hinawazawa under the protection of Oyasudozama. But once they left Hinawazawa, abandoning that protection, the maggots that had been sleeping in the blood of the demons would start to awaken, and they'd eat their bodies from the inside out. Jesus Christ. Just why? This maggot disease scared the villagers for a while, and they asked the shrine to provide them with protective talismans whenever they had to leave the village on business. This is interesting, as it's similar to the way homesickness was dealt with by the Swiss in the Middle Ages. After the war started, the delusion of the maggot disease faded away, but they remained accustomed to send talismans from families that lived away from Hinawazawa. Oh. Talismans had the word maggot on them. That's That's so weird. Wait, so isn't a talisman the thing that... Oh right, so I didn't actually realise a talisman is sort of an object ascribed with religious or magical powers intending to protect, heal, or harm individuals. Yeah, I always thought they were just another word of saying luck charm. That's very interesting that they... Why would they send the word maggot there? I almost think that's an insult just with a typo. But the most interesting part about all of this is that the residents of Nagasawa didn't know about the maggot disease until the rumours began. That could actually maybe explain its, I don't know, just illegitimacy, really. Because you would have thought something as big as this, like there are 1,000, 2,000 people living in Yamazawa. You would have thought somebody would have left and somebody would have discovered it. It's just kind of surprising that like the first time they heard about it was because of the rumour. I thought that their unconscious worship would make... I thought that their unconscious worship made these people think of homesickness as a curse. So this case of providing the previously unknown maggot disease directly contradicted to the research I had done so far. Yeah, I suppose because with the maggot disease they could actually be trying to return home because they believe that they're fucking gonna get internally eaten alive by maggots if they don't. But at the same time, the homesickness is serious because they, I don't know, just because they have a dependence thanks to their culture so much on Hinamazawa that they feel if they leave it they're going to actually become mad. And I suppose because of all of the sort of stories and propaganda that was spread, that's definitely strengthened. Of course it is. It's natural to think that the group of people who were on their way back to the village were lost in a mass delusion because they strongly believed in the curse, and that the Shinto priests took advantage of their state of panic to instill a deeper faith in them. Yeah, that could definitely be true. God, I really hope that's not the case, but at the same time, it's religion. Yeah, a lot of things happen thanks to religion. I couldn't imagine that, just, I don't know, just sort of receiving a talisman that's sort of just aimed for wishing you safe luck on your journey, wishing you a warm time away from Hinamazawa, and then just seeing a maggot. I mean, it's actually really weird because, like, you would have thought with anything related to Hinamazawa, how the fuck could this village actually progress and move forward if nobody can leave that lives there? And I mean, what kind of lives are these people going to have? This really doesn't make sense to me. But, I mean, I get that it's because of the past, like, for example, what was it? Because of the demons living there, it was referred as the land of the death, and then they would have to live there otherwise. And if they escaped, they would have to suffer the fate of maggots, really. But, like, God. It's really got the, like, it still happens in times that are this modern. But I suppose traditions are sort of moved toward. And I suppose the thing with Denar's sort of maggot problem, I wonder if it could have been like what Takano was saying about homesickness, but only sort of linking it to how the culture of the village has sort of made her think that something could be happening. It would actually be very interesting to think if for example, all these maggots she's pretending to see in her body could potentially be because of, like, let's just say an itch in the arm or something like that. Something that's just got really, really bad. And as a result, she maybe thinks, I don't know, I really don't know. Oh, I don't know. It just doesn't really work. You can't have maggots from a fucking itch. But the only thing is maybe if, like, the itch got really, really bad, it could have provoked something similar to that, I wonder. I don't know. It could have provoked similar behaviour maybe if an itch got really bad, but that would be very unlikely, and secondly, like, just no. But I'm not fully convinced that it was merely a coincidence that this mass delusion matched with the story in the old picture show. I wonder if it's possible to see maggots in a wound without having the prerequisite knowledge of when a person is accessed by Yeah, me too. I reckon if it is actually possible, then this entirely proves that this could potentially be some real thing. And if this is actually proved to be real, then that's going to be very weird, because that could potentially say that the stories of the past of Hinamizawa could potentially be existing, because this is 1980. I'm sorry, there is no drug that is powerful enough to make maggots not only fully be in somebody's system, but to actually eat them alive as well. No way. No way. Oh. I really hope... I don't hope this, but I kind of hope, like, we see maybe Lena getting more... somehow getting maggots in her again. Hang on a second, she did actually think she wanted to leave Hinamizawa. I think it was before... I think it was when her father was just with Rina. She went to the... I remember that scene where she went to the car in the junkyard, and then she was just thinking that she could potentially want to leave Hinamizawa. I did remember her thinking about, like, stuff related to that. No, it was... I think it was just something about if Rina was actually going to live there, she wanted to go get a job, get employment, and just leave Hinamizawa just so he couldn't really bear... So she wouldn't really have to bear the fate of, like, just dealing with her and her father. But at the same time, that doesn't really fit because... I don't know, it kind of does fit. I don't know, I'm so tired at the moment, I'm kind of forgetting what I'm saying. I wish I saw someone with this curse on somebody I could study. Oh, interesting. No, I suppose... do you reckon that Lena could have been that person? Because the thing is, like, when she says could study, maybe that could just mean, like, somebody that will actually want to answer questions, somebody who would actually listen. And that is what Lena would do. She has a very big experience from, I don't know, potentially Oyasura-sama or some weird delusion. But the only thing is about the maggots eating up her entire body. I just wonder how that would feel, because... Let's be real. If, say, your organs were literally being eaten alive by fucking insects, I think you feel more than an itch. But at the same time, there are lots of insects. There are probably lots of insects, so it could be. I don't think it would be very quick, but it wouldn't be very slow at the same time. Maybe that's why, just because of the speed. Who knows? I'd love to see the maggots coming up. Ugh. Are you sure? Oh, God. Also, what the fuck? She wants somebody just to die and suffer so much pain so she can study them. It's just weird. I feel as if Mio-san was here and making that request to me. Yeah, I kind of get what she means. But at the same time, it's just kind of funny, like, the second she meets somebody she actually can study, Oyasura-sama from, she died. That's actually kind of interesting, that. I mean, I definitely know it's a coincidence, but if you link that to Yasuo-sama's curse, then you do actually wonder if it could potentially be, I don't know, because she can finally learn about the sort of people up above humans, really. Because it's ruder to actually, because they consider it rude to actually study and learn about the gods just because of, I don't really know, I don't remember why they said it, but I remember them just saying that, like, it was actually rude for a person to sort of learn about the people that were higher up. I don't really know. I read something like that. Maybe that could be the reason for the Yasuo-sama's curse. Who knows? I heard this video someone's here and made them request to me. I remember, when she gave me the scrapbook, she said that I might be the only one who could understand. Yeah, I felt good just for a moment, because I found out that the mangas weren't a delusion. Oh, interesting. But at the same time, you don't really know that. You really don't know. She really needs to remember these are only rumours. Only rumours. No proof. But at the same time, it destroyed my excuse that it was a delusion. Yeah, and I think that could be something really bad, but at the same time, like, they're gone now. And the thing is, though, even if it was a delusion, you would have thought firstly, the maggots would have left. Like, all of the things they were covered in, all of the germs, all of everything. They would have just been, I mean, maybe the theory could be disproven if they were specifically born inside your body somehow. But like, the thing is, if they weren't born inside your body and they were just somehow administered into your body, then I just don't get how no doctors, nobody, not even her, how did nobody sort of get, I don't know, like, for example, if you had, let's say if you had dirt in your bloodstream, bacteria, really bad chemicals around like the entirety of the inside of your body, in blood vein vessels and stuff like that, you would have thought there would be a little just more than itching that would have happened long term. It's just really surprising to me that nothing else happened. The maggots weren't a delusion, they were there. It's interesting that she actually believes that they were there. I do find it interesting that she's sort of jumping to that conclusion, even though she doesn't really know. And I also find it more interesting that she's not really seeing the other point of view. She's just convinced it's right. All of a sudden, my wrists, elbows, inner thighs, and neck start. Oh no! Wait, so wrists, elbows, inner thighs, and neck. Nothing is mentioned about the elbows, but it's very interesting that the only parts Lina has actually mentioned about scratching until there's blood or cutting open are mentioned. We haven't heard about anything related to elbows, to be fair, but she cut some sort of blood vessel in her thigh. She cut a vein in her wrist and she clawed at her neck. Ugh, God, I can't believe I'm talking about these things so lightly. I'm sorry. It's just so interesting to me. Like, seriously. I don't know why this is so interesting, but at least I'm not feeling completely sick from it. I thought you guys had got over the blood vessel, but I quietly held it down. Oh, I remember the Mule-san looked very serious when I thought about the maggots. Oh, it's the worst that, like, now she could potentially have them, and yet there's nobody there. But it could actually be very interesting if this was a mental disorder as well, because this whole culture thing, she's only learned about the culture. She's learned about other people's opinions and that it was a historic thing. So this could potentially be... Actually, I'm looking at this from a point of view I never really thought about. She never knew about the culture about maggots until now. Okay, that is weird. That is weird, yeah. That is really weird. I remember the meals looked very serious when I thought about the maggots. She must have thought it was creepy, but so did I. Yeah, well, I was crying because nobody believed me. A part of me didn't want to believe that my body was filled with those creepy things. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, a part of me. Holy shit. I think if I had that, I'd not only... No, I reckon... I'm just really surprised that, like, these people, they never actually asked her to prove it. Because the thing is, these people could have 100. I mean, I get that it would have really hurt, but these people, and there probably are a lot of ethical concerns regarding that, but I don't really get it. Would you rather have somebody hurt and know an exact problem that they're having? Are they having something genuinely that's really supernatural and just weird, or are they just warped in their head really? Yeah, I think part of me wanted to believe that it was a delusion. Yeah, but now I know it wasn't. It wasn't a delusion. There were some people who had the same experience. Yeah. Magazine and the demons will awaken you when you lose the protection of Higurashi or something. Yeah, but how has she lost the protection of her? I mean, I don't really get how just by studying the history of Hinamizawa and sort of studying the secrets of the gods. I mean, I get it's disrespectful, but it could be argued as disrespectful. It's not even disrespectful full stop. It could be argued as disrespectful, but it doesn't really make sense how she could have potentially lost the protection from Higurashi just because of studying. In other words, they may not awaken under the protection of Higurashi, but all the villagers still have the maggots in them without knowing it. But at the same time, you would have thought with the whole maggot-related theory, like, what about the Horjors, for example? I mean, they could have potentially got, like, the whole maggot-related thing because they left Hinamizawa for a holiday. For a holiday. This really does sound like a fucking confinement at this point. Holy shit. I mean, but at the same time, it is kind of a fair point, though. Like, they left for a holiday, so could they have been driven mad? But no, the thing is about the holiday, I actually remember Satoko and Satoshi, like, seeing their parents die. So why did the parents get it, but they didn't? It really, really doesn't make sense to me. No, I suppose maybe it could have been because the parents actually made the choice to leave, and Satoko and Satoshi actually had to. But I don't know, it just doesn't really make sense. Because, for example, when you consider things that have been brought by the villagers' culture that sort of forgives nobody, like you remember when Shion and Keiji snuck into the Watanagashi, like nobody would have cared that Keiji did it just because Shion did it, and no god would have cared. And I suppose in the end they didn't, because Keiji actually died. I mean, I get that this was because of humans. Don't sort of forget that. But like, they don't really care. People of the Demon's Blood are people who have creepy magazine, who have the creepy magazine in their bodies. I do wonder what the Sonozaki family would say about this. And I do wonder why Shion never. It's actually a very fair theory. Why did Shion never get these maggots? No, because the thing is, you would have thought like her sort of. All of these things that I'm saying about could hint disrespect. Her mimicking and carrying out and completely sort of destroying, if you like, Oyasuna-sama's curse. I would have thought that would be disrespectful, wouldn't it? Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh, you know those really sort of, those things that you can fasten your shorts with? One of them, it just got on my hand and I thought it was a massive bug. Holy shit, that was terrifying. Oh god. Yeah, definitely. Try not to jump to conclusions and flip the pages again. Yeah, she should. And it is very interesting, the whole Mio-san thing. It is very interesting that, like, I wonder what was going through her head when she saw Lena actually talking about the whole manga-related thing. I mean, to be fair, she doesn't know about it, and she's only learning it because she's actually experiencing it. But you would have thought, like, it would have been pretty weird. Just somebody in the 21st century experiencing what people like before the Meiji era were experiencing. No, in the Meiji era even. unconsciously look for something related to maggots. Yeah. About parasites and control of the host. Oh, this is going to be interesting. The maggot disease made me think about something. Is it possible to say that the extremely strong homesickness of Hinamizawa was an infectious disease caused by some kind of parasite? But how can that be? This is so weird. How can that be caused? How can a parasite cause a disease? I mean, I suppose maybe it could be doing something. I mean, what if the parasite ate at the brain and then that sort of did something? But firstly, why would it affect the mind? And secondly, well, of course it affect the mind if your fucking brain was being eaten, but like, why would the same thing happen to everybody if that was the case? But the only thing is I don't really get how that could be the case, because look at the culture of Hinamizawa. Look at everything regarding that. It just doesn't really add up because of the whole culture related thing. I'm not trying to connect the maggots that they saw with parasites. I'm trying to think about the possibility that their culture, their religion, might be associated with an infectious disease. Yeah, God, that's funny, that. Like, holy shit. Many infectious diseases are caused unintentionally by parasites. I suppose. Parasite's host is literally its home. It wants to live within the host's body for as long as it can. The best way to do so is to coexist with the host without the host knowing it. Yeah, some parasites try to control their host and use them for prosperity. For example, some parasites have an ability to control their host in order to force them to be eaten by a superior host. God. No, I know there's this I think there's this one mushroom that sort of, it gets these ants, it forces chemicals in their brains somehow. I don't know exactly what happens, but some chemicals are forced into the ant's brain that it literally kills the ant, and then the ant sort of goes up a sort of plant, and then it's so weird, it goes up to the top of the plant, so I'm assuming like most sunlight can reach the mushroom, and then the ant just sort of dies, and then a massive fucking mushroom goes through it. It's so weird. Like, genuinely. I actually saw it on video as well. I don't really know exactly what it is, but like, fucking hell. So weird. The typical example is the Dicrocolium thing. No. Why? Dicrocolium dendriticrum. Weird. It uses the snails or ants to It uses snails or ants as intermediate hosts, and it forces them to move to the upper side of vegetation so it's easier for a superior host to consume it. Interesting. One parasite that controls more complicated animals is called Toxoplasma gondii. It uses mice as intermediate hosts with a superior host being cats. This parasite makes a mouse lose its fear of cats in order to increase its chance of being eaten, so this parasite can live within a cat instead. Oh my god. It's evil. But the only thing I don't really get about this is why would the parasites just not go straight to the cats? Why would they actually want to go to the mice? Or is it because their cats aren't really in environments in which they can administer things like that in? Who knows? There are parasites that choose hosts at random. Yeah, the Rhodosaurus is commonly known for that. Oh, it lives and breeds in the rabies is in the brain. Holy shit, I never knew that. It lives and breeds in the brain of a host, and it moves into the host's saliva through the salivary glands. God, so holy shit. I do wonder if that's contagious then. I mean, wouldn't be surprised if it was. It makes it extremely aggressive in order to make it bite things randomly, so they can move So that it in turn can move into other hosts through this alive. Yeah. Oh, interesting. God, that's so awful. That's what rapists does. Many parasites have a similar ability to control hosts to their benefit. Examples I use are about parasites to move into other hosts to prosper. But I think there must be some kind of parasite that controls this host in order to have a comfortable environment in which to live. Yeah, I suppose, but at the same time, if you have a really uncomfortable host, if you have a really uncomfortable host, then let's say, for example, as a blood feeding parasite, like if they have an uncomfortable host, then more adrenaline, fight or flight, more blood, more food, more sugar, more oxygen. I want to try to connect this theory to the abnormal homing ability and the homesickness of Higurashi residents. Let's say that there's some kind of parasite that exists in Yamazawa and it lives within all of these villagers' bodies. The parasite in Yamazawa is the most comfortable environment to live in, so it gives the host a strong homing ability in order to make them stay in Yamazawa. Yeah, that could be well and good, but the only thing is it just really doesn't make sense to me about why this happens. Why? No, for example, firstly it really doesn't make sense, like, why did Anna only get this at the end of when she left? Why didn't her parents get it? I suppose whoever is, I don't know, whoever was sort of in the Hinamazawa bloodline, why didn't they get it? And why did Nana only get it, like, then? Why did she only get it? I don't know, I don't know anything else, I kind of forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, and just that theory about, like, how can parasites affect the mind? How can they affect thoughts? And how can they affect the exact same thoughts? Like, I'm sorry, even if you're adapted to affect exact thoughts, I'm sorry, but, like, it just seems way too unlikely that it's going to carry the same process out every time. I mean, like, everybody is different. We all have different brains, I'm sure of it. Or maybe if we don't have different brains, we have different sort of responses. Our brains are trained differently. But the only thing is, it doesn't really make sense. Like, why would Hinamazawa be the most comfortable environment to live in? These people were literally, I mean, it wouldn't really be, like, only specific to Hinamazawa. Wouldn't it be specific to any, like, countryside area? Because I'm assuming that Hinamazawa would be the most sort of comfortable environment just because of, I'm assuming, like, all of the air, the least pollutants being in the air, and maybe the whole noise not being really that bad, no CO2, no fumes, no bad chemicals you're breathing in. Maybe that could be why, but that's not specific, that's not just Hinamazawa. It's just kind of odd that, like, if this was the case, then it's not any other sort of countryside related things. Furthermore, it causes those to get homesick whenever they try to ignore this homing ability and try to leave. Yeah. Parasites need hosts in which to live. It's convenient for them if their hosts build a community within the environment where it feels comfortable. Yeah. The story makes it easier for me to explain the miseries I described earlier. Yeah, the translators on the Higurashi village knew about the existence of this parasite. They knew that as hosts of the parasites, they couldn't live outside that village. They knew that as hosts of the parasite, they couldn't live outside of the village. That's why they created a culture and rules that prohibited contact with the outside world. Yeah, that could definitely explain it. But the only thing is we don't really know about like the more sort of the bigger picture, really. It is kind of surprising that like you've heard about so many stories. I mean, you've even heard about Takano-san herself. She said you've heard so many stories about Onigati and you've never heard about this. It just kind of surprises me. Maybe it's one of those things that like they try to sort of set in stone, but there's just some people who remember it. Who knows? It also explains why people acted so abnormal during the dam conflict. Ah, yeah, I suppose. I mean, I suppose because these people, they really... No, I do kind of get what she means, because these people, they did abandon, like, all sort of human decency. Just because their home could potentially be tampered with. You know, I do wonder what would have actually happened if the dam conflict went through. I wonder what the side effects would have been. Like, would we have actually seen, like, these maggots become real? Because these people can't have their homes anymore. Like, Hinamazawa is destroyed. Who knows? So, the demons that came out of the swamp in the legend of Ayase-sama can be interpreted as the mass spread of the parasite. Yeah, I suppose, because these bred inside the demons. Story about the demons attacking the villagers who must be a metaphor for the behaviour of the infected villagers who were controlled by the parasite. Interesting. No, it could actually be, because the thing is about man-eating demons, that just doesn't really... Doesn't really seem right, but the only thing is... That just doesn't make sense. Why would they be man-eating? I mean, I don't believe they would do cannibalism, no way. No matter how mad they are getting, I think they would have had that little bit of human decency. But at the same time, though, we can't base the values on what would have happened today, because this is like 18th, 17th, 16th century, very old times. This theory is too crazy. I should have just laughed about it, but I feel bad for Mio-san, so I decided not to. Hinamazawa is controlled by a parasite? He used that theory to explain how the maggots came out of me. Yeah, I felt a little bit dizzy and I was so confused. Part of me thought it was ridiculous, and another part of me thought it was more convincing than any curse. Yeah, I kind of get what she means. But Mio-san was probably erased because she wrote these scrapbooks. If so, the contents of these scrapbooks must be something that they can't ignore. Yeah, definitely. They try to get all of their scrapbooks and consign them to oblivion. Who would, though? And if anybody did actually try and look for her scrapbooks, then it could potentially be some sort of human culprit. Some feelings that could potentially be a human. Who knows? What if they notice some of her scrapbooks are missing? Yeah, I felt a chill running down through my spine. I have to give it a secret that I have these scrapbooks. Yeah, and I'll have to try to understand more about their contents. I remember Mio-san told me that the three families are behind the series of the mysterious deaths, and that they're trying to resurrect the cult for Yasuo-sama. Yeah, but at the same time, it just really doesn't make sense. Oh my god, there's so many things that don't make sense, and then when you put them together, they just sort of make a bomb, a clusterfuck of things that don't make sense. Yeah, sorry, I'll leave the visual novel to do the good metaphors. According to the theory I just read, the parasite must be trying to maintain the current environment into the current environment in Yamazawa. Yeah. The healthiest environment for it is a completely closed village, just like the primitive Onigati. Yeah, I suppose. must be very comfortable with the parasite if no hosts go outside the village. They don't even like that the villagers often leave the village to go shopping. Yeah, but at the same time it just... No, it makes perfect sense actually, because these parasites will probably act over a long period of time. But the only thing is it just so doesn't make sense. Like, firstly, I get what that now means about this theory being ridiculous, because, like, firstly, how does nobody know? Firstly, how does nobody know? Secondly, like, how does nobody feel anything? Thirdly, why is it only select people? Why don't... You would have thought that, like, a village of 2,000 people, there would be just a little more than, like, one person leaving the village every day for long times. Can I think of any examples? What about Mion's parents? Like, Mion's dad, for example, he's in the Yakuza. He'd definitely leave him. But he probably doesn't live there at the same time. Who knows? That means the parasite will try to go the hosts into reserving the car for us or something. Yeah. I remember there was an article in the scrapbook saying that the demon's blood runs thickest in 3 families. Yeah, that would mean that they had a larger amount of the parasite in them than the other villagers, and they're under its control. 3 families seem to be planning to bring the village back to the Onigashiki area. Yeah, but at the same time, why would they do that? Reviving the Watanabe Festival after the dam conflict can be interpreted as their desire to revive the faith that had started to fade away in the Meiji era. I suppose. Yeah, there were a lot of things that people were only attending the Watanabe Festival just because of them being too scared of Oyasura-sama. So you do wonder that maybe it could be because they're not really going to the festival, they're going because they're scared for their life. But also to kind of have fun, but that's the main motive of them going. So I do wonder if it could potentially be like, oh my god, I just itched my arm. Nah. But I just don't really get why... Hang on, let me read this. The 3 families, especially the Sonozaki family, have a great influence over the region and the public organisations. Yeah, definitely. What's going on here? I thought this would be a poorly written theory, but the pieces fit together one after another. I've never played a jigsaw puzzle as crazy as this. Yeah, I found my brain swelling due to the absurd theory. Part of me thought this is ridiculous, and another part of me thought I might be about to expose an unbelievable truth. Yeah, I know, but the only thing is about this truth, you don't know it. Nobody knows it. Not even the Sonozaki family might know it. But the only thing is, I mean, these things are done subconsciously, but at the same time I do wonder if, like, these subconscious sort of things that the parasites are gnawing away at, they could potentially affect their thoughts. So they genuinely feel that, like, they're feeling more convinced and more sort of enthusiastic about bringing back the whole Onigashiki related things. It is actually really good with the whole Onigashiki related, Watanabe related things. Because, I don't know, it is just kind of odd. Like, you would have thought if these parasites wanted to adjust... I mean, keep in mind that I don't know about the parasites, but, like, you would have thought... No, I mean, I need to remember that, like, this is... The bigger picture is that they're trying to do this for their faith. But it is just kind of odd that, like, the parasites are sort of... The parasites could potentially be making... What the Nagasi Festival happen again, because you would have thought if Yamazawa was like... No, Onigashiki was like a perfect environment for these parasites. It's just kind of odd to me that, like, they be reinforcing something like Wada Nagasi, for example, because look at, I don't know, just for example, air. You probably have smoke, you have power supplies that are needed, you have festival stalls. They could potentially be giving smells that parasites wouldn't like and wouldn't be reminiscent of Onigashiki. I don't know. When I tried to look into the centre of it, I felt as if I was going to fall into the whirlpool and drown. Oh. I have to devote myself to reading more seriously. Yeah, I wonder if she's going to read the entire thing. There must be some truth to this. Yeah, because of misfortune have made my life miserable after I moved to Ibaraki. I might be able to find the truth, including the cause of my parents' divorce and my desperate behaviour. Yeah, I know. I mean, God, she really does have a lot of potential. I get what she means. But the only thing is the truth subjectively to her going to be different to the objective truth? That's... And the other thing is, there's so many things that she doesn't know that we know, for example, like in Miyakasi, for example, like all of the Sonozaki things, like for example, audio and her smiling. That's the example I always like to use. And the theory about like the criminals and the orders. Right then, I heard a knock on the door all of a sudden, scaring me. Oh, who could that possibly be? Is it her dad? But why isn't her dad at home? Or is she in the library? No, she isn't in the library because that light is always sort of a home-like light. Is it me, or whenever you look at these lights, they always look like they're slightly moving? It's only if you look at the top part of the light. No, maybe in the middle. Oh, that's so weird. I had this grab as under a cushion.
Reina, 電話が来てるぞ。
電話？こんな時間に？誰だろう？
Who is it? Oh my god, it's probably Oishi.
本屋さんからだぞ。
It is Oishi. That's very interesting. This is exactly like Honikakushi. Oh no. Oh my god, if this is really... Oh my god. This could potentially be really bad, because if it's like Onigashiki, then we all know what happens to Katie at the end of Onigashiki. He gets ruled over by paranoia. Oh my god, and that could be potentially what happens to Denon because of the whole, not only sort of getting caught up in conspiracies day and day, which is very dangerous firstly. Getting caught up in conspiracies about things that you live in and you know you love, it can't be good.
本の取り寄せとか頼んだの。沖宮書房の大石さんって人からだ。
Oh boy. Oh, for fuck's sake. Dude. Oh, I hate you for ending on a bloody cliffhanger. Oh my god. Oh, I was literally... Dude. Oh, I'm too tired to read more, but I want to do it anyway, fuck it. I opened the windows, but all they let in was heat and the cries of the cicadas.
味い
It's
な。
too hot. Relatable.
味い
It
ね
really is. It was break time between classes, but we couldn't really get any rest. Yeah, Mion and I leaned on our desks, exhausted by the heat. Yeah, I really don't blame her. The only sure are tough considering how the heat wasn't bothering them at all. Oh, damn, classic summer lovers. They were running around the classroom despite the temperature. Damn.
やっぱり
The
さ
schools in the city
都
told
会
us
の
she
学
doesn't
校
live
だ
in their
と
classroom.
教室にもクーラーとか入
そんなことあるのはせいぜい職員室ぐらいだな。
Only the teacher's office gets to have air conditioning. Bruh. That is literal hell. Oh my god, because it's even hotter in the city. You can't forget that ever. Shit, that's bad.
うわそれは羨ましいね
Yeah, but like, that's so unfair. Well, I mean, I could just imagine if it was really hot, some people just like deliberately causing trouble just so they can get to the teacher's office. It's better than nothing.
生徒みんなで職員室を襲って占拠とかしないの
Take over their office? Bro, I know. Of course she would attack them.
その辺の発想が実にミオン臭い。
You were the first student ever to do that.
ああ、
Ah. I love that. You were the first student ever to do that. I didn't even have the energy to laugh. Mion and I stopped talking and used our notebooks to fan ourselves. God, that must be bad. I looked at the empty seat nearby. It was Denos. What? What's she doing? Oh. Maybe it could have been Oishi. Maybe it could have been like all of the... You remember what happened to Casey in Onikakushi? Like, him being really creeped out with Oishi's information, so as a result, he had to go from school. He went to Angel Mall to have lunch with Oishi. And I didn't come to school today. She called and told TS and she couldn't come because she's sick. Exactly what Katie did as well. Interesting.
レナのやつ、
Then
最近元気ないよな。
these days.
だ
Yeah,
ね
definitely. But I don't really know about this. I have a feeling it's just more of a... Well, I really don't know. What's his feeling?
暑さにやられたのかもね
なあ、
Yeah, I think that's a
本
little
気
bit
で
more
暑さで
than
やられ
that,
たと思って
yeah.
るのか。
You think that's really the
そう
reason?
思ってるけど
Yeah,
例の一件がさ
what、is the incident?
かもね
Maybe.
それに暑さも
Probably
加
very
わっ
fine, there's
て
some heat.
夏バテでも起こしたんじゃないかな
Poor people. They're literally her best friends and yet they know nothing. Well, I mean, how can you know nothing? Like, I think if anybody actually knew that she had these books, it'd be a little bit odd. I can't even imagine how distressing it was for her to commit a murder, dismember the bodies and get caught by a friend. Oh my god, yeah, definitely. But at the same time, she didn't really... She was actually kind of calm about it because, you know, cooking. And, yeah, junkyard being a place where nobody can get caught. And then, yeah, we took each other's hands at that place and we reunited. Reunited even. I must believe that we had closed the case there and regained our peace. Oh, that must be really awful for them. Sort of feel really left out of her, but that was easy for them. Was that as easy for them as it was for us? But yeah, at the same time, yeah. She might have not quite recovered yet. Yeah.
おじさんはみんなで楽しく遊んでればそのうち元気になるそこまで心の傷が浅くなかったってことかな
Yeah. No, I suppose she hasn't really told anybody in depth about the whole manga related thing, you know.
こういう時どうしたらレナを元気づけられるかな。
多分
It's best just to leave her alone.
ほっとくのが一番じゃないかな
God, yeah.
おいおい、そんなのでいいのかよ。俺たち仲間だろ。
Friends, you know? Yeah, I suppose.
ほら、
Well, isn't it
ホー
like
ム
homesickness?
シックってあるじゃない？
It's very interesting she uses those exact words. I mean, coincidence or what? It's like homesickness.
あれもね、
You get lonely and you
ちょっ
want
と
to
寂
call
しい
home
からっ
just
て
to
言っ
hear
て
mum's voice.
実家に電話
But
なんか
actually
かけ
makes
ちゃうと
homesickness worse.
一気に発症しちゃうらしいよ。
Interesting. I never really realized that made it worse.
寂しい時は
When
ぐ
you're
っ
feeling
と
lonely,
耐え
the
て
best thing to do is to
例え
devote
ば
yourself
ス
to
ポーツにでも打ち
sports
込ん
or
で
something like
気
that
分
for
転換を
recharging.
図るのが一番なんだってさ。
気分転換させてやりたくても
I wanted to do
あい
group
つ
activities with us,
最
but
近
she
部
doesn't
活に
want
加
to.
わらないし
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
レナはどうか知ら
I
ない
don't
け
know
どさ、
about her.
人には甘えた
But
い
people
欲っ
usually
ての
have
が
a
あるんだ
desire
よ。
to depend on somebody. Yeah. And I suppose maybe that could be on Takano for the moment because she's depending on her theories to actually get the result of Hinamizawa's secrets really.
そばに支えてくれる人や同情してくれる人がいると甘えたくなる欲。
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And even more Takano-san. Even more. Yeah. And especially, I think then I will definitely feel more of a dependence to Takano-san because like she's done what no doctors have ever done before, you know.
慰めてくれる人が現れるとさ、
Haven't you ever experienced that?
際限なく甘え
When
ちゃ
you
うことっ
can't
て
stop
ない？
depending on somebody when they're trying to cheer you up? Oh, yeah.
どうだろうな。
際限なく甘えるってことは
Depending on somebody means
相手
trying
の
to
同
earn
情を
deeper
より
sympathy
深く
from
得ようと
them.
するってこと。
Yeah.
そうする
At
と
that point, even though
ケ
you're
イちゃん
trying
は
to comfort
慰めて
them,
るつもりなの
they
に
just slip further
相手
and
は
further.
どんどんどんどん落ち込んでいっちゃうことがあるんだよね。
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
慰められて甘えられる。これに味を占めると不幸に酔うのが癖になる。レナもその辺分かってるからわざと一人になろうとしてるんじゃない？慰めや甘えが目的だったら私たちのそばにいて涙を流せば済むわけだし。
Yeah, yeah. I suppose. It's just kind of interesting this. I mean, you would have thought always that comfort would be a really good thing. I would have never thought there could possibly be anything bad potentially involved in it. But I do kind of get what she means though. But at the same time, I don't really know.
じゃあ落ち込んでるレナをどう励ませばいいんだ。
女の心情としては辛さを励ましてくれるより忘れさせてくれる方が嬉しいね。
Yeah, yeah, I suppose. But at the same time, she really isn't. She's really not doing that. She's doing the opposite, if anything.
慰めるな、励ますな。
And don't cheer her up.
なんだよ
There's nothing I can
お
do
手上
with
げじゃないかよ。
this. No, I know.
慰めるな励ますなは心理カウンセラーの鉄則だって知ってる？
Is it?
結局心の傷ってのは自分で治すようにできてる。周りの人が治したとしてもそれは本当の完治じゃない。だからレナが自分で元気になるのを私たちは見守るしかないんだよ。
理屈じゃ理解できるが、なんだか薄情な気がして好きになれねえな。
No, I get what you mean, but it's very interesting this. I suppose because, I mean, I don't know. It just kind of surprises me that even if somebody is helped out of it, they won't be like fully solved. But I mean, I suppose you could have stuff like intrusive thoughts that would still get back, even if it was solved by somebody else apart from you. But like, the only thing is, I just don't really get how this works, because if you somehow get somebody to solve a mental problem that you have, then if they've succeeded, then your thoughts would have had to change. You would have had to actually change what you think if you agreed and just approved of what that person was saying. So it's just kind of odd to me that, like, that's not your input. I get that it's sort of not counted as your input. I get that it's sort of encouraged by another individual, but it's still you doing the input to actually change your mind. Because you could just think like, nah, fuck you, stop. And then, yeah, you just stop. But no, you don't. It's weird. But I just don't like how cold it sounds. I clasp my hands behind the back of my head, looking at the ceiling. Neon laughed. Then I will be fine.
それだけレナのことを心配してくれるケイちゃんが立ち直れるよ。
I'm sure she can put us out together. Hmm.
近くにいるだけで
So
か
what I need to do is to be close to her.
うさんくさいな。
I suppose she could also. I mean, I don't know.
圭一にだ
There
っ
was something you
て
do.
できることがありますですよ。
Takano spoke up. I wonder how long it'll be. I wonder how long she's been listening to our conversation.
俺にもできることがあるのか？
レナが話したいと思った時や打ち明けたいと思った時に静かに聞いてあげることなのです。
聞くだけでいいのか？ 励まさなくていいのかよ。
I don't need to make her feel better.
ケイちゃん、打ち明けるだけで心が軽くなるもんだよ。静かに耳を傾けるのが何よりも嬉しい時ってある。
Especially Lena as well, because like of how many people she sort of had in her life just reject her and not really listen to her. She definitely valued that more than anybody else would, you know.
ミーの言う通り、レナが話したいと思った時、いつでも話しかけられる場所にいてあげるのも、きっと仲間として大切なことなのだと思いますです。
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I was going to pat Lena on her shoulder and tell her to cheer up when I saw her next, but now I know that would have been one-sided on my part. But Emma doesn't want to feel let down herself. She wants to cheer up if at all possible. If I cheered up irresponsibly, she'd be very disappointed because she'd think that I didn't understand her pain. Yeah, I suppose she did kind of think that. You remember when Casey was making those light-hearted comments about, like, him, I don't know, just wishing, like, I don't know, just some sort of thing about, I can't remember exactly what it was. It was just him being happy that his life was so good, and he kind of wishes something could go wrong. I think he said something like that. And then I just sort of got a little annoyed because, you know what was happening in her life. So, yeah, you're right.
俺、ちょっと人の心ってやつを理解しようとしてなかったな。 レナを励ましたいのは俺の欲求であって、レナの求めることじゃない。ありがとな、二人とも。俺ひょっとすると今日まで何か勘違いをしてたかもしれないぜ。
I suppose, but the only thing is, like, he wants her to be happier, and she wants herself to be happier. But at the same time, there's just such a sort of barrier because of how bad the situation she's been in has been from getting there. Wasn't that not sign in the real sense of the term? Wasn't that not sign in the real sense of the term? All of a sudden, Rika-chan, pardon my head.
圭一は一番のレナの味方ですよ。それは疑わなくて大丈夫なのです。
俺また考え事を口に出しちまってたのか。
レナの心には届いてるよ。ケイちゃんはあの日とても強い力をレナに与えたんだからさ。いやー、でもさ、よくよく思い出すとすっごい恥ずかしいこと言ってたよね。
I suppose. We heard footsteps on the hallway and everybody started to head up back to their desks.
お待たせしました。
Oh my god. I thought that could have been Lena. I thought it could have been. Take your seats, everybody.
それでは委員長、
If you would. All rise. End of school. School. Black screen. We didn't have a club meeting that day because Lena wasn't around. Yeah, I suppose she discovered a club meeting was actually happening without her. That would not have been good as well. And just, you know, these people were such good friends that they wouldn't do anything to disrespect another member of the friend group, I suppose. And it just doesn't feel the same without her, I guess. Oh, interesting. So, yeah. Interesting. No, I definitely agree that like Casey did cheer up Lena, and he definitely because if you see Lena's thoughts, they weren't so filled with sadness. I mean, she's now more intrigued, and obviously she's probably really freaked out about what she's remembering, but like, it's not really sadness. I don't really know. I suppose it is definitely sadness, but it's sort of sadness at a point you can accept it, because if you're so sad that you want to learn about what's actually causing it, then if you have the capacity to learn about it and not just constantly think about it, then you're definitely getting better. That worked out for me because I had an errand to run. An errand? It wasn't a big errand. My mum wanted me to use her point card to get some detergent. Ah. That could be interesting. Could you imagine if like Katie actually needs dinner? That'd be cool. Very interesting as well. I wonder what they'd say. I didn't see the point. I didn't see the point of going all the way to the store just to get detergent. Well, my mom told me to go because she's busy helping my dad with his work. No, I know, like, you would have thought detergent. What is the point of that? Like, seriously. Must be a really good deal that she's got. Why? I mean, is it urgent, I wonder? started walking towards the shopping centre, I noticed somebody was watching me, hiding behind a distant tree. I wonder who would do such a mischievous thing. I stared at them to find out who it was, at which a point they emerged.
お、レナじゃねえか。
Lena? I really met her now? I was about to say that, but I swallowed the words. Somehow, Lena looked very serious.
どうしたんだ？
What's going on? Shh. Lena put her ring into her lips, told me to be quiet, looked around carefully, and begged me to come over? That's weird. I had no idea what was going on, but I followed her instructions, shut my mouth, and ran to her. Shit, what's gonna happen? Lena just for me to squat down, tied in the shadow of the bush. I don't know why I had to do that, but I could ask her the question later. I just followed her orders for now. This is weird. Lena looked like she was sure, and then I realised she was making sure nobody was following her. If it was Mule, she'd do something like this just to fool me as a joke, but I know Lena doesn't do things like this for fun. Interesting. Yeah, and I suppose that could be because of the whole Yasuda summer thing. I had no idea what kind of situation I got myself into, but I could feel how tense it was, and I made myself as small as I could. Good.
もういいよ。
It's okay now.
ごめんね。
I'm sorry. The tone of her voice made me relax a little.
どうしたってんだよ、一体。
多分私、
I think
誰かに最近
somebody...
後をつけられているの。
I think somebody has been following me. Huh? Oh my god, we all know what this could potentially mean. I think somebody has been following me.
なんだって。
What? Who would follow her? When I thought about it, I realized how stupid the question was.
まさか
Is it
警
the
察かよ。
Oh, yeah, is it the police? Mami Adina, hold your tip. 2 people had disappeared. Even though they were an awful human beings, the police had to investigate if they found out they had gone missing. Yeah. It probably wouldn't be difficult to find out that Lina had off them into herding ourselves. Yeah, definitely. But it should be okay. As long as I don't run those bags, it should be okay. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be very unlikely.
警察じゃないのかわからないけれど、
I don't know if it's the police or not.
綿流し
But
の
I
夜以
suppose
降、
somebody has been
誰か
watching
に
me
ずっと
since the
見
night of the
どういうことだよ。
Watanabe. That's very interesting. Since the night of the Watanagashi. I mean, at the same time, it's very interesting that she says since the night of the Watanagashi because she did not. I would have thought it would be since like she read Takano's books. Weird. What do you mean? When I asked that question, then I stared directly with a blank expression. Her eyes looked as though they were evaluating me. She stared at me as if she was assessing whether I was worth talking to about something very important. And I squeezed her own wrist tightly and started talking in a whisper.
話して
I
も
can
い
tell
い
you
け
what's
ど、
going on, but you keep it a secret.
誰にも内緒にできる。
ああ、もちろんだぜ。レナがそうしろってんなら誰にも喋らない。
圭一くんなら信用できるよ。
She smiles and looks around one more time.
連中はひょっとするとミオさんのスクラップ帳を探しているのかもしれないの。
But why would the police be looking for them? They might be looking for your son's
ミオスってああ看護師のあとスクラップ帳って何の
秘密の捜査になっているって言ってたから、多分圭一くんは高野ミオさん殺されたんだって。
Oh shit, he doesn't know. Casey doesn't know. Fuck. No, I suppose. No, that would actually make sense as to why, like, their scrappers are being looked for. Fuck. Oh no, that actually looks really bad in terms of Bananas part. I mean, I'm sure she can explain her evidence, but, like, still, that just does not look good. What?
いつ
When? She's told me to be quiet again. Oh yeah, I lower my voice and let her continue.
綿流しの夜、私たちはミオさんとあと富武さんに会ったよね。あの直後に2人が襲われたんだって。
Yeah, definitely.
富武さんはお社様のたたりにあって喉をかきむしって死んだ。ミオさんは隣の県の山中で焼き殺されていたと言ってたの。
It's very interesting. I wonder like if his compared to like Hinamizawa. It's just really odd that like she wasn't in Hinamizawa. But at the same time Satoshi wasn't in Hinamizawa. But at another time it's also odd that like Satoshi's body was never found yet her body was.
それ本当かよ。
Is that true?
そんなの
I mean,
誰も知らないぞ。
Oh, of course they wouldn't. But it's kind of odd that like the rumors hadn't gone past. Because I remember when Oikakushi actually they knew the second it happened, everybody knew. It just was spread around by everybody. But nobody knows this time apart from like a few select people. I know.
それは
That's because the police
警
haven't
察が伏せて
disclosed
捜査を
the
ひなみ沢村連続開始事件は今年で5年目になっちゃうでしょ。だから変に騒がれたくないんで事件を公にしていないんだって。
秘密捜査なのは分かったが、レナはそんな話どこで聞いたんだよ。
I wonder what she's gonna say.
内緒だよ。
Can you give me a secret?
私
I've been in contact with
実は
He's a detective
大
from
石
the
っていう
Okinawa
沖宮
police
署の
department.
刑事さんと連絡を取り合っているの。
Interesting that she's not keeping it a secret from Casey, like Casey did with Lena and Morikakushi, you know, about like the whole things that happened. Because Casey was told about the whole deaths that happened in the Watanabe festival, but he was also told to be wary and careful with his friends. I wonder what Lena was told.
その人に教えてもらった。
But why?
どうして大石って人が。
さあ、ちょっとそこはわからない。彼が言うには私なら信用できそうだからって言うんだけどね。
But the only thing, at the same time, why would a police officer just tell a random person little confidential information? It doesn't really make sense. I was dumbfounded to hear all of this, but I knew she wasn't lying. I knew she wasn't lying. If it was me, she'd be sticking her tongue out by now, but then I wouldn't make a joke out of something like this. No, she wouldn't, no.
ミオさんが殺された理由は多分彼女の研究のせいだと思うの。ミオさんがこの村の歴史とか民族学とかそういうのを熱心に調べてたってのは知っている？
Why would Mio-san get murdered and yet Tomitake-san doesn't get murdered? Like, everything doesn't add up because of Tomitake, because he's just that one anomaly. What does he have to do with Hinamizawa? I mean, maybe it could have been like the camera flashing really impacting the sacred dance that Nika did, but that's not enough to kill, is it? If that's enough to kill, then what the fuck? Frankly. With lack of a better way of putting it. That sound? Okay, I'm actually doing something. So, oh god, there we are. I thought that was the sound of a phone vibrating, but it was actually a printer. God, I know. I've lived in this world for nearly 16 years. I know my way around things. Obviously. Right.
なんとなくは聞いたことある。
Something along those lines. Oh. Takano-san was interested in the occult and in mysterious things. Yeah. I remember Myon once told me that she was studying the village legends of man-eating demons out of curiosity. Yeah.
彼女は多分その研究の中でこの村に関するある重要な秘密を知ってしまったの。あるいは彼女はそんなにも確信には踏み入ってなかったのかもしれないけど、そうは思われなかったんだろうね。
Oh no, you know what that means. It could potentially be Denalda's in danger next. 2 victims, 2 sacrifices. Is that how it goes?
Wait a second. ちょっと待て。この村の秘密ってなんだよ。
I wonder how Casey's actually going to react to this.
私はミオさんのスクラップでも彼女が特に大事にしていた秘蔵の数冊だからかなり重要なことが記してあったと思う。だから多分ミオさんが至ろうとしていたことでもあまりに突拍子もなくて私にはまだ信じられない。
It's kind of insane that like not only do these theories really make sense, but like we've learned about them so late down the line. It's because of, I don't know, not really being relevant before.
ミオさんの想像が正しいかどうか検証してる段階なの。
何なんだ、秘密を知ると殺されるっていう、この村の秘密ってのは。
It's interesting about this because you remember in Meakashi, all of the lie was that if you know about the ritual with the shrine related thing, it was, I don't know, passed off as getting killed because you knew by Oyashiro or someone, probably, or just by somebody, but still getting killed ultimately. So you do wonder if maybe it could be a similarity here. Maybe it could be story and a hidden meaning that's sort of hidden, that's sort of closed off, really. I got the moment those words left my mouth. Yeah, if Leon told me I might get killed too. No, I suppose, but the only thing is might.
圭一君に
I
は
don't want to tell you yet.
確証が持
But
てたら
I promise
話す
I
ね
will once I verify things. Oh, interesting. I'm actually kind of surprised that then I didn't tell Geichi.
だってそれくらいに途方もないとんでもない話だから。
No, I definitely should.
確証ってなんだよ。
What do you mean you have to verify things?
例えば
For example,
予備知識のないことは私自らがその存在を検証できているけど、 他にもたくさん未検証のことがあるの。
Yeah, definitely, but at the same time, what the fuck? Firstly, Katie does not know that Lena has this thing about maggots in her past. Secondly, what the fuck?
それらを埋めていかないと私ですらにわかには信じられない。
Yeah. I'm actually really happy that she's sort of trying to get the best of this information. She's not really just sort of using this as an excuse to sort of just blame something else or change her mind entirely. Magus? I was totally lost now. I wanted to ask her some questions, but I decided not to cut in. It was so hot outside. But then I hold her arms as if she was cold.
レナ、俺は
I'm always on your
いつ
side.
だってお前の味方なんだからな。俺だけは信用してくれて構わない。
ありがとう。
Thank you.
その一
I
言
really
が
appreciate it.
すごい嬉しい。
And her expression alone, I could tell you that she really meant it. That's good. I could also tell you that she was involved in something very big and that she felt lonely because she couldn't tell anybody else about it. Yeah, I think it's really good that Casey's actually saying stuff like this, but I just really wonder why. Why is she firstly hiding? And secondly, I get that the police could be searching for her, but what would... I mean, I suppose she really needs to keep the scrapbooks, but if she keeps the scrapbooks, then she could be incriminated. I'm just kind of surprised that she is actually doing it. At the same time, it could maybe be Oyasuda Sama, and maybe she could be actually lying to Casey about it just so he doesn't get worried. I don't know. I had to be honest, while she was going through a difficult time. Yeah, definitely.
私とね、
You shouldn't tell anybody
今日ここで出会ったことは
that you met me here today.
内緒に私と接触があったことが知られたら
Find out.
圭一君にも危害が及ぶかもしれないから。
俺に
Okay, isn't there anything
何か
I can
協
do
力できる
about
ことはないのかよ。
今はない。
right now?
でも
But it's
協
very
力をお
reassuring that
願
I
いで
can
き
ask
る
you
ことが
about
分かっただ
it.
けで今の私には心強いよ。最後には頼らせて。
Oh, depend on you someday.
任せとけ。
Yeah, anytime.
し、車が来る。
it's coming. Oh shit. I was going, wait, hang on a second. Then I pushed my head into the bush. I went along with it and crouched down, even lower in the bushes. What? I stayed quiet for a while and I can hear a car coming closer. And after a while, a white van passed by. I was surprised at her hearing. She heard the car coming when it was still far off in the distance.
今の
Did you
車
see his license plate number?
ナンバー
What?
いや、ごめん。
No, I'm sorry.
見えなかった。
I didn't.
私もちょっと見えなかったけど、多分さっきと同じナンバーの車だと思うの。
Oh yeah, that could definitely be. I mean, it doesn't really explain much, but at the same time, could be showing that somebody is not leaving Hinamizawa. Somebody needs something.
その、レナを尾行しているとかいう。
多分
I think so.
普段車なんか通らない道で、今日は何度も追い上げられるの。
Oh, interesting. That is weird.
その度に
Every time.
私は隠れて、
そいつらなのか。
Are they the ones-
高野さんたちを殺して、
are they the ones who killed Takano?
レナが持ってるスクラップ帳を狙っているという連中は。
多分
Most likely, yes. And it's actually very interesting with this. Wait, hang on a second. So, if this is the case, then you remember the white van truck, because it kind of gives me sort of connotations of the Onigashii scene where Katie is nearly hit by a hit and run van, which is also coincidentally a white van, if I remember correctly. No, it is a white van. It is a white van, but Katie, he didn't get the license plate number, but at the same time Katie and Lena here, they do. They try to at least. I just really wonder if potentially these people, so that could actually make it very likely that more people were sort of responsible just for like an Onigashii related death than what meets the eye. Most likely, yes. I don't blame him for not being able to believe what's going on, because this is really crazy. No, I know. Takano's uncovered something really significant through her studies. The people who want that information hidden found out about it, and they killed her on the night of the Onigashii, copying the Gazaboy Asura-sama. Yeah, definitely. And that could maybe explain why she wasn't killed in Hinamizawa. And that could explain why Satoshi was also not in Hinamizawa when he died, but yeah, I don't know. They're looking for the scrapbooks, the fruit of her research, and Lena has them. Yeah, that's why they're trying to kill Lena. Lena, even? I don't know why I said Lena. But they would not try to kill her. No way. I don't believe that. Maybe it could be the case though, who knows?
じゃあ、レナの家が危ないってことはないのか。
大丈夫。
Yeah, it's safe there.
スクラップ帳はゴミ山の私の隠れ家に隠してある。
Ah, yeah, that's smart. But the only thing is, if people know that they don't have them and they're actually trying to search for her, then you would have thought that they'd know. Well, maybe it could be possible that they don't know, but I think it would be very unlikely that they wouldn't know about her secret hideout. So, I don't know, but at the same time, there's so many places she could hide them, so, yeah. knows.
お父さんが不安だけど、
Father, but you'll be fine.
何も知らないから
Because
こ
he
そ
doesn't really know anything.
何も危害が及ばないかも
Yeah,
しれない。
I suppose.
圭一君が言わなくても突拍子もない話でとても信じられないでしょ。
I wanted to deny it, but I felt bad to lie. I remained silent in the affirmative.
それが当然の反応。私だってミオさんのスクラップ帳を読み始めた最初は全てに目を通してようやく何かの筋が見えてきた
I
ん
find
だ
it
も
kind
ん。
of funny with like Hidena, she's just assuming that Casey knows everything that she's talking about.
すまん。
I'm sorry.
もちろん
I do want to
で
help you,
でも
but I just don't know
話が
how.
全然見えないんで
I can't see the whole picture of
どう
what's
助け
going
てやればいいかわかんないん
on.
だ。
Yeah, definitely. So I wonder if Hidena's actually going to tell Casey now.
話せば
If I tell you,
圭一君の身にも危険が降りかかるよ。
I wonder, but I don't really get how. And firstly, if you do it in a public, if you do it in a private place, then nobody can hear it. And secondly, no, but the only thing is we don't know if Oyasuda somewhere exists. So if he does actually exist, then he'll probably be able to verify that, like, somehow just verify that she's actually talked to somebody about things that are sensitive to him and that are dangerous. I don't know.
レナにはすでに降りかかってるんだろう。ならおあいこだぜ。気にするな。
わかった。
Okay.
話す。多
I'll tell
分
you then, it's probably the three
ミオ
people
さん
that
たちを
took Mio
殺したのは
son.
もっとはっ
To
き
be
り言
more
ってしまえ
specific,
ば
it's Sonozaki family.
みーちゃんの家である
Son's family.
園崎本家。
Yeah, and I suppose that's probably because like the whole maggots, the whole parasites that are sort of, what is it? The whole parasites that are sort of feeding on their, I don't know, feeding on them to sort of, it just doesn't really make sense. You can't say this with a serious face. Like the parasites that are making them sort of feel as if they want, making them, manipulating their brain in order to make them think that they need to preserve the tradition of Onigati village, and then as a result sort of turning the village back into how it was with like modern adaptations of Watanagasi and stuff like that. And Sonozaki family, because most demon blood. But the only thing is that's kind of a bold assumption to make. Like, what if the Sonozaki family and Hinawaza aren't the people with the most demon blood in them? That could be a really big possibility.
どうして？
Why? Yeah.
圭一君も
You know about
過
the
去の
series
連
of
続
mysterious
開始
deaths,
事件は
right?
知ってるよね。
This is weird music.
ああ、ダム戦争の時の村の旧敵ばかりが毎年犠牲になっていくっていうあれだろ。
I think he's missing a little bit.
この連続開始事件はダム戦争の生産村の裏切り者を片付けることによって本当の意味でダム戦争を終わらせようとする。
Yeah.
確かにそう見えない誰もがはっきりと口にはしないが、うすうすと園崎家の仕業だと疑ってるみたいな話は聞いたことあるぜ。
でも 裏切り者を制裁するなら別に綿流しの場にこだわらなくてもいいんじゃない？
Yeah, definitely, but at the same time, you do need to consider that if it is potentially like every year, so one like us, you get people get murdered on, they could actually pass it out as a curse. I think if they wanted to get away with murder, it would be more likely if they did that. So I disagree that, yeah.
毎年たたりで一人、鬼隠しで一人なんてスローペースで殺す必要はない。
Yeah, I really don't get this because if they want to kill people, then they don't want to get put up for murder in police custody, you know?
そうでしょ。
Wouldn't that make more sense? I've never heard the words demoning away before, but I don't know. Clearly thought they have some kind of creepy, significant meaning before, so I decided not to cut in.
つまりこれらの連続開始事件は綿流しの祭りに神聖性を取り戻そうとする意志があるの。
Yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah.
もっと踏み込んで言うと、明治以降に失われた鬼ヶ淵村の彼らは最終的には太古の昔にそうだったような原理的なお社様信仰を復活させることを目的としている。
お社様信仰、古出神社のことか。
そう、古出神社って崇められていると思う。お年寄りの人は敬っているけど、それだけだよね。子供たちは境内を遊び場くらいにしか思ってないし、ほとんどの村人たちも地域の集会所くらいにしか思っていない。その神聖性は失われている。それがダム戦争をきっかけに蘇ったの。彼らはそれをお社様信仰を復活させる。
ってことはつまりお社様信仰の信者たちが裏で暗躍しているってことか。
Yeah, I mean, you definitely get that impression, but at the same time, there's no maggots. Yeah, it doesn't really fit.
そういうこと。
That's what I'm saying.
そもそもお社様信仰は御三家によって管理されていた。
Yeah, this is definitely tied to what Sion was saying in the Akashi. Yeah, I know we learned about the families there. だから御三家には現代にも脈々とお社様信仰を復活させなければならないという至上目的が受け継がれているの。 Yeah.
それを思えば御三家がダム戦争中に村を一丸にまとめたり、廃れかけていたお社様を引き合いに出し、古出神社にわざわざ同盟事務所を設けた理由も透けて見えてくる。
That is very interesting there. Why specifically in the Higurashi shrine? Hmm.
じゃあ、ひなみ沢村レイヤー、 お社様を信仰する盲信的な集団の仕業なら待てよ。どうして高野さんが殺されなきゃならないんだ？
それは御三家が鬼ヶ淵村と呼ばれた太古からずっと隠してきたこの村のある重大な秘密に関係があるの。それを暴かれるとお社様という神の神聖性が失われる。だから彼らはミオさんの研究が確信に近づいたことを知り消したの。
was almost getting close to the secret, and that's why they killed her. Yeah.
その重大な秘密ってのは、それを知ると俺も狙われるってんだろうけど、上等だぜ。
だからそれはまだ言いたくない。私自身が10割の確証を得るまで、多分今ここで話しても圭一君は耐えきれなくなって笑い出してしまうに違いないもの。
Like at the beginning of this, but yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's very interesting. This.
おいおい、俺がそんなやつに見えるかよ。
もう少し時間が欲しいの。あまりの事実に私ですら受け入れ。だからもうお願い。
わかった。
今日ここで話したことは誰にも喋っちゃダメだよ。みーちゃんとリカちゃん、もちろんさとこちゃんにもダメ。
Damn. God. I mean, if it's that, I mean, I suppose definitely Mion, but like Satoko and Lika. Oh, I mean, Lika, who did it? But like Satoko? Damn, kind of surprises me.
わかったよ。
じゃあケイチ、私はもう少し辺りを伺ってから。用心に過ぎるということはないからね。
Then I ducked low in the bushes and moved away. I was left alone there. Yeah. Interesting. also very interesting that like Leonard does is actually convinced that this breakthrough she's actually made could potentially be the truth, but at the same time it is impossible. It is literally impossible, both scientifically and sort of literally. It just really surprises me. I really don't know. The crisis cicada surrounded around me, making it seem as if I was alone there the whole time. Obvious hallucination. Nah. I started walking, still dumbfounded. In the end, then I didn't tell me the secret because he was afraid of putting me in danger. Yeah, I suppose. But at the same time, with the whole, you do wonder if, like, the things that then I did actually tell Casey, I wonder if they could have been enough to actually put him in danger. Who knows? Who knows? It told me clearly that there are people who want to resonate with the cult of Higurashi or someone, and that they're among the 3 families that control the entire village. Yeah. They orchestrated a series of mysterious deaths for that purpose, and they killed Takano-san because he has got too close to the secret they wanted to hide. Then I met Takano-san and happened to obtain the scrapbooks in which Takano-san wrote about her research. And I still can't believe the secret was in the scrapbooks because it's just too crazy. Hey, come on, Dino. You're kidding me, right? It's like one of those comic book stories. A mysterious occult group is plotting conspiracy? I mean, it's not funny even if it is a joke. Yeah. No, I suppose, but the only thing is this is not a joke. But I do kind of get what he means here. But then is right about one thing. Even if this is true, it's really hard to believe. Oh my god, and he hasn't even heard the whole thing. I understand why then I wanted to tell me today. When it, I understand why then I wanted to wait to tell me the secret. Maybe she was just fooled by Takano-san. Yeah, it could be. I mean, you do wonder because maybe in all the information in the book could potentially be like just bullshit. Who knows? But Takano-san was murdered for real. Yeah, definitely. So is it also true that somebody is following Dena, looking at the scrapbooks? Yeah, I know. I remember Dena said that a white van was following her. Yeah, you can see white vans anywhere. I bet there are a lot in this village alone. She might just be oversensitive to everything right now. It could be, but at the same time, it's just weird. Dena hasn't recovered from that shock since that day. Nah, I reckon she has, yeah. But I don't know. That's probably why she got the idea into her head that the police or somebody else is going after her. But, oh no, he's thinking so naively, but... No, I'm going to be real, I really disagree with this. I think it could be genuine. And it is genuine, definitely. But I don't know, at the same time, I could see how it could be a coincidence. Like, what if that white van was just delivering stuff for somebody? I don't know. I didn't cut in while she was talking. I think I did the right thing. Yeah, definitely. But I suppose if it's a really big issue that she actually has, then, you know, listening is the best thing that you can do. I suppose maybe when Katie thinks that Lena has calmed down a little more, that's when it's sort of time to start asking, like, what the fuck are you talking about, basically? If I said that it was ridiculous or something to her face, then I wouldn't have trusted me ever again. Yeah. At that point, I gasped. A white van was parked on the side of the street. Shit. Oh my god. What if they're for him? What if they're running for him? Oh no. I wasn't sure if this is the same car that passed by earlier, so I didn't see the plate number. Does it look the same on one? But the number of people in the car and the ambience of it was similar to the one earlier. The number of people? God, there's more than one? Oh, of course there would be. This doesn't exactly sound like something that would just be a one-man's job. And there's one thing that looks suspicious about it. There was no reason to park here. Oh no. Oh shit. Run. Literally fucking run. It was on a small road in the middle of the woods. Yeah, there's nothing around here. No traffic lights, no vending machines, and no public phones. I probably wouldn't notice it under ordinary circumstances, but I felt something was wrong. Oh my god, yeah, once I noticed how odd it was definitely suspicious. Yeah, there were 4 men in work uniforms in the white van. The driver was smoking a cigarette, but the other men were just sitting there doing nothing. If they wanted to take a break or have a smoke, they could have chosen a bit of place in there. Yeah, and you would have thought, like, potential drivers could have really inconvenienced them. So these could either be really inconsiderate people, or they could be really, really threatening. It was possible that they stopped because they had to go to the bathroom really badly, but it didn't seem that way either. Yeah, because I think somebody would have got out of the car if that was the case. They didn't look as comfortable or relaxed like they would if they were taking a break. They looked like they were waiting for something to happen. There was a deep tension in that car. Could they possibly be waiting for dinner? Shit. No way. I didn't see anybody walking around here. Where is the back road? Nobody really uses this road yet. Alone by car. But it's impossible. I felt bad for her not to even think about it, but this must be something that she got into her head because she's feeling victimised or something. She must just be imagining things because she's still nervous when her friends were caught in the other getting dipping. Her friends caught in the other getting dipping. Imagining what? Or maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe she could just potentially be imagining the worst case scenario. Who knows?
Nii-chan.
Hey, young man. I heard somebody say that when I passed by the van. He passed by the van. Oh my god. This person is just either really not scared, or he's a complete idiot. Or he's curious, to be fair. But what's better, knowing information or your fucking life? I mean, to be fair, it could be really valuable information, but still, like, your life is a little bit more important, I think. So I assume he was talking to one of the other people in the car. I pretended I didn't hear him and kept walking by, and then he said it again, and honked the horn as well. Oh shit. it's actually very interesting. Casey thinks that Lena's actually imagining stuff, so as a result, he doesn't really see the threat, and that she's getting misconceptions.
兄ちゃん、すまんね。学校の帰り会ね。
On your way from school? On your way home from school? It's a very weird question to ask. I mean, why would you want to know? He had a strong accent similar to the one of the older villagers. Oh, he must live here, but I didn't know him. I could tell he didn't know me either, but he didn't call me by because he didn't call me by my name. Yeah, you would have thought like every villager in Yanamizawa, because of how much of a connected community it was, you would have thought they'd all know Casey's name, but maybe it could just be like a circumstantial situation like this one person doesn't really know. But I don't know.
はい、そうですけど。
兄ちゃん、学校からこの道をずっと歩いてきたんで。ちょうど文房具屋の角を曲がって。
そうですけど。
And secondly, like, why would you know where he turned? That's so odd. Or maybe it could have been just... It could either have been they were worshipping and... Oh my god, dude, I'm not thinking straight. It could either be... Why did I say worshipping? It could either be that these people were genuinely watching him, or it could be that these people were just thinking, like, the directions from the school to here. Yes. So, they were probably lost, I thought. This village has many small turns, and you can easily get lost when you try to take a shortcut. Ah, so they must have been waiting for somebody to ask for directions. But then he said something disturbing.
兄ちゃんさ、この道の途中で女の子に会わんかったかいね。
Oh no. Yeah, man, didn't you see a girl on the way here?
え、
what?
白い帽子に白い服を着た女の子なんよ。
White clothes.
紫のリボンもついた。合わんかったかいね。
They were definitely talking about dinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Oh no, Kate, you lie better. Holy shit.
合ってないです。
No, I didn't. I wasn't ready to hear them ask that. Rather, I was scared. Yeah. That's why my voice got all shaky. Up until that point, I couldn't believe Dinner's story. I thought it was ridiculous. I actually laughed at only to myself. That's why I wasn't ready at all. My heart was beating so fast and I was sweating all over. I immediately answered no I didn't, but it might have sounded like an obvious lie. Yeah, the driver stared into my eyes. He looked like he was trying to figure out if I was lying or not, and my legs started to shake. Fly on the leg like a snake. Oh god. A snake and I can move a muscle for a while. Oh shit. But I think the same went for those men too. They were clearly a suspicious group, and they had just asked the villager about a girl out of the blue. Ah, yeah, I suppose anybody would get suspicious. No, I kind of get what they mean. And these people, they are not only in a white van, which I don't know if it has the same significance as it does in England and Japan. And secondly, these people are 4 of them, and they're grown men. Are they in uniforms? I mean, if they were in uniforms, it would definitely look a lot less suspicious, but yeah, it's just... And then they're asking for a fucking girl that's like, I don't know, not even like an adult yet. That's just, that is weird. And I was right. The man broke the ice and started making excuses before I even asked him why I wanted to know about the girl. Oh, interesting.
ああ、そんな深い意味はないんだ。
What kind of an excuse is that? Well, I was asking for no particular reason.
さっき
We just passed by.
女の子を追い抜いたのによ。
So we
来た
were
のが
just
男の子だった。
wondering.
あれと思っただけなんで。
I mean, I suppose they are the same age, but like, what kind of... We just passed by a girl earlier, but you're a boy, so we were just wondering. That's just such a weird sentence. It just doesn't make sense.
そうですか。
忘れてえな。
Please just forget.
ごめんな、
Sorry
兄
for
ちゃ
the
ん。
trouble.
うちらもう行くんて。
I am actually really surprised. When I started off the engine and drove away. Oh my god, I can't believe... Oh shit, I can't believe Casey didn't actually use this opportunity to ask. Shit. But the only thing is, this is so weird. Not only... I'm just really surprised that firstly they're so nice about it. I would have thought these people, they are literal murderers. Potentially. They could do stuff to dinner. Really bad stuff. And yet they're sort of not only respectful, but not really, I don't know, just not really sort of, if you ask me, giving like the energy a villain would give off. I mean, for example, look at the lie, for example. I mean, anybody could tell that Casey was lying. I mean, I suppose these people were in sort of a deadly situation themselves, but like, yeah. After they left, I saw nothing. That's right, nothing. There was no reason why they had the park there. Yeah, definitely. So, were they really waiting for dinner? And what were they going to do when dinner was actually there? I mean, my god. Don't tell me they'd kill her. No way. So, were they really waiting for dinner? Oh. Yeah, that's the end of the chapter. It's actually kind of convenient. I need to go to bed. I'm so fucking tired at the moment, but... Holy shit. That's really interesting. Let's take a list too. Oh, we're going to get more mental stuff. Nice. Be drawn further into the conspiracy. Mystery machine. I love that. Dude, that was so weird.
すまなかった、
I
レ
still
ナ。
apologize now. Alright.
俺はどこ
I
か
don't
で
believe you.
本当にすま
I'm
ない。
sorry about that. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I just had to read. I'm sorry. Yeah. What the fuck was that laugh? That was the weirdest and most cheesy laugh I think I've ever done. Right, there we are. Dude, that was so interesting. Oh my god. I just can't believe that end. I really do wonder what's actually going to happen regarding the whole vehicle thing. Like, I just really wonder what they're going to do to her. Are they going to kill her? Are they going to get the scrappers? Would these people be the same people responsible for the murder of Takano-san, I wonder? I mean, I suppose it is a very loose sort of assumption, and even if you knew that, like, how many people would you have to suspect as well? It isn't really the easiest, but yeah, oh my god, I can't wait to see this. Right, furthermore, it's important that we closely monitor her father. Oh yeah, since he has also suffered mental shock from the divorce, and has been trying hard to take care of the patient, there's a strong possibility that he may develop an induced delusional disorder. God. At the first step of mental care, one should listen to the patient's story carefully without denying it. Yeah. That's the most basic of basics. However, when the patient and the listener are related, it's easier for the listener to become deeply influenced by the patient's decisions. Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Additionally, delusional parasitosis is widely known to make people highly impressionable, and the influence sometimes can spread throughout a whole community. Therefore, even if several people claim to acquire a parasitic infection, it doesn't necessarily prove the existence of a parasite. Yeah, definitely. Some of the phone calls to the healthcare centres for the extermination of pests are nothing but a mass delusion. Interesting. And it is very interesting how like this sort of illusion that this illusion can sort of spread by word of mouth and the decisions people actually make, because at the same time this could definitely contradict sort of the whole I don't know, just like the backstory of Hinawazawa, just get like the mental side up. But this doesn't explain why Lena has got the disease without any mention or knowledge of the history of Hinawazawa. It's interesting. It doesn't really make sense to me how this sort of illusion can spread, really. I just really don't understand how that would work. So the subject matter of the delusion in this case is extremely rabid. The patients may harm or even kill each other in abnormal ways, believing this to be the treatment for the disease. Oh my god, they might also give up hope and commit suicide together in the worst case. Shit, that is, oh my god. I mean, I suppose at least Lena isn't really that sort of induced and just affected by it, but holy shit. In abnormal ways, I wonder. Oh god. This influential delusional disorder, otherwise known as shared psychotic disorder, shows a particularly strong possibility of influencing close companions. Anyone who is going to contact the patients must be made to understand that the patients are under medical treatment and must be warned not to be influenced by the patient's delusions. It is interesting how, even though this happens, we don't really get anything about, like, this. Like, I mean, for example, no, we don't really get anything about this. We know nothing about all of her disorders. But maybe the characters did actually know that, like, the people that moved here before Casey did. I'm not really sure. I mean, the thing is about Casey, you didn't really learn about any of the things that Lena had from her friends, the people that probably could have known. You learned from Oishi. I mean, and we didn't really hear a sort of in-depth recount. We just heard about like the third-person view, really. Not really the sort of first-person one. individuals who were likely to be easily influenced are the patient's family members and people who deeply care about the patient's. That's just spoiler the girlfriends. Yeah, definitely. I actually kind of want. Oh, interesting. So with this, I'm actually just giving it a little read. The shared psychosis disorder, like the symptoms apparently are like paranoia, suspicion of others. Oh God, I can definitely see how that could escalate to things. Anxious, being fearful. I don't really know. I'm not really getting much here. Yeah. Oh. Okay then. Well, what did the last thing say? I actually kind of forgot. Interesting. So they actually believe that Deno is extremely rabid. So when we say rabid here, do we mean disturbed? Oh no. So rabid actually means, I mean, interesting. I never really knew the definition of that. So having or proceeding from an extreme or fanatical support to or belief in something. So that's, he's extremely passionate about the belief of Oyasuda somewhere existing here, at least, and obviously the, the maggots. Good night. I'm gonna go to bed soon. God. Yeah, interesting. I find it very interesting that, like, Nina, maybe, no, Nina especially, because she was actually related in the family life of Deno. She was never contacted about this disorder. Hang on a second, do you think, it's actually very interesting now I think about it, do you reckon that Nina could actually be the cause about the proof that she does actually potentially have this? Because she's always been thinking that Nina and Tepe, them dying, I mean with reason as well. The only thing is about this, it's really exaggerated, it's really without reason, but the murders of them, she believes that it could solve her problem of having so much unhappiness in her life, and so that is potentially, no, that is mainly why she did it. She did it to fill the gap in her life and her happiness, really. So maybe I wonder if that could be a sort of sign of this. Interesting. Right, that was very, very cool. Oh my god, dude, that was really, really interesting today. Holy shit, dude. I was very interested in like the whole theory about the, oh my god, the parasites as well. That parasite theory. I mean, I definitely think that this theme is going to be built on more, and I'm very, very excited to see actually how it develops and what could potentially like be made out of it. Fucking hell. And then it was very interesting about the van thing. Oh my god, I'm very excited to learn about like what's actually happening. I wonder if Lena's actually going to be at school tomorrow, and that could potentially be why Lena's like off school, because like, you know, no safety. I also find it very interesting about the Oishi thing, that she actually talked about Oishi to like Oishi just talked about what he wanted to Lena just because he trusted her. I mean, I'm just really surprised about that. I really am. But yeah, I suppose. But Takano's an adder. It's actually really convenient that Oishi talked to Lena about that, because like that is such an important thing to her, and yeah, Oishi never knew that. Oh my god, it was also so cool. What else? Oh, just all of the mental stuff, all the stuff with Casey as well. Sort of, even though Casey thinks that like Lena is such a good friend and everything, but like it could potentially be so ridiculous a theory that he wants to laugh and he hasn't even seen the true source of it. I'm going to be very interesting to see what Leno's final theory, her final conclusion is, and I just find it really odd that like in the thing, in the story we read today, didn't she say at one point she actually started to feel like minor itching in, what was it, like her thigh, her elbow, her nose and her neck? She's starting to feel minor itching in that. That's really fucking weird for me. I do wonder if she's actually going to get this thing back. I think it definitely could be likely, because this scrapbook could potentially spread the potential propaganda that her mental things aren't mental. So as a result, like, she can be less aware of her actual problems, and then can sort of, I don't know, maybe have something to blame them on. Because I remember the doctor saying something about that. That's a big thing she does. Or maybe it could be, I really don't know. Oh god, dude, this is so interesting. I'm really excited to play this tomorrow. Yeah, so I'll probably go to bed now. So, see you guys. Hope you have a good one. And yeah, hope you're excited for tomorrow, because oh my god, I am.